before starting, I just wanted to give a welcome to everybody to this dissemination event of the Trame project. And we're very happy to have people interested in our project. We hope we will be able to do really interesting things. We are all of us are very committed in this project. We think it's very important. So I will try to give you really a very brief overview of what we want to do and how we are doing it. So just to start, a very brief presentation about the partners and to give you some images of the partners, which are coming from 5 different countries and of the sites to which we are connecting and which we will develop our project. So I hope you will be able to see the presentation. Just a moment. Okay, so thank you. This was just a very brief overview of the people working in the project and of the partners and of the sites which are we'll be working in. Now, very briefly, because before giving the floor to Yelena, something about the aims of our project. So these are the partners you've seen before, coming from 5 different countries. There are schools, of course, there are public institutions, and there are archaeological sites. We, as the Parco, the Colosseo, are the coordinators. And what we want to do with this project is first promote the value of educational heritage, of cultural heritage, which is really very important. And it's important for social inclusion, it's important for the construction of an European citizenship based on the value of diversity, which is very, very important. And among the, also we want to create an innovative education methodology, because our project is for students between 14 and 18 mainly, so students which are creating their cultural identity in these years. And so it's important for them to discover and to interpret the cultural heritage and to understand its meaning. And this will allow the students also to develop a series of competences which are very, very important for them in the future. And among them, a spirit of initiative, communicating foreign languages, and social skills. One of the aims of the project is to make students travel. Now, of course, it's a difficult period because of the COVID, but we would like we wanted to make the students meet and know each other. So to understand the value of different cultures and languages. And another thing we want to do is to strengthen the link between the management of archaeological sites and the local communities. And we can use the schools as a mean for this. We noticed now in these first months of the project that when projects for students are developed by cultural heritage sites, they do not usually involve the schools. And on the contrary, when schools develop projects on cultural heritage site, they do not involve the cultural managers. So what we want to do is to make them collaborate more, and so to create better projects. And the core of the project is migrations and identity, because I think it's very important to understand, mainly for the students which will be of future, that identity is made of diversity, and then diversity enriches culture. So, and I think we can understand this really well through the study of migrations in Europe. Of course, from prehistory, we have a lot of migrations in Europe, and at the beginning, of course, migrating people even brought agriculture to Europe. So it was really a big innovation. And then as all the sites are part of what was Roman Empire, we also will go through travels and communication in Roman times to understand how multicultural the city of Rome was and what were the advantages of this. And of course, we'll go through the Middle Ages. And I think it's very important to connect this to the present time and to modern migration, which are a very big issue. But I think we have to give to the students a key to understand even modern migration, to put them in a framework, to make them understand that they are the final part of something which is going on in Europe from 1,000 years. And of course, these are different, but are linked in a sort of ways. So to understand how this ancient migration and modern migration are connected, and to understand the meaning and the value of migration. Also the fact that migration is also an enrichment for a society, and it brings cultural diversity. So I think it's very important that students, sorry, I wanted to go back to this one. Students understand that society which is not open to cultural diversity and to other cultures is bound to die, because diversity is an enrichment. And what we want to do, how we want to do this. We have 2 main activities in our project. The first is we want to involve the students, and for the beginning we are doing this. Then Yelena will speak to you about what we did with the logo and with the stickers. So we are trying to involve students from the very beginning, but the core of the activity for them will be these activities, in the pilot activities. They will be working in their schools and studying, of course, and researching specific topics of their history or connected with their migration. Of course, each school can do different things, but all of the students then will visit archaeological sites, will be involved also through storytelling. Then they will have meetings with writers, historians, journalists, even with modern migrants to understand their point of view. And at the end of the pilot, groups of students will make an individual output, and they can choose, of course, it can be a text, video, concert, stickers, comic strips, though we will have a lot of different outputs. And second thing, the second important activity of the project is to connect cultural heritage sites and school, as I said before, and to give teachers a guide on how to develop this kind of projects and how to involve cultural heritage managers. And so we will have a manual, for teachers and educators, which also include research on best practices on the best projects we found in our countries about migration, about this topic. And Yelena and Arpad will speak to you about these issues. So I think I was brief enough, quick enough, and I will give now back the floor to Yelena. So thank you for hearing.
Thank you, Francesca. And thank you all for your participation in this event. This is very important to us to share our results and what we did so far. I'd like to thank all the people who participated in research of best practices and who are always willing to support such a good initiatives, good ideas that TRAME team is aiming to develop. Also, I told you that we will record this event, probably share it on social media, YouTube. So it would be good maybe if all of you just click in chat, confirm that you agree, so that it can be some kind of agreement with us. Also, we trust you. Because we believe that images are speaking more than words. We prepared one video for you about the activities on which Institute of Archaeology Belgrade was in charge, and that is work package 2, promotion and dissemination of the project results. So I thought that maybe the most effective way would be to share in video what we did so far, and we will do a lot of things according to the schedule that we have, but of course there will be another dissemination event and you will be invited to participate as well. So Dragan, please now share video.
Okay, just a second.
First task in the work package 2, promotion and dissemination of the project results, was the creation of the visual identity of the TRAME project and cooperation between the Institute of Archaeology and School of Design. Introduction lecture was held in the school, and afterwards students began to work on the TRAME logo design. TRAME Consortium received 13 solutions, and after partners voting, logo designed by Nadia Vincillo has won and was accepted as official TRAME logo. All students were rewarded with official certificates issued by Parco Archeologico del Colosseo. First months of the project life were covered by intensive media appearances. The winner of the logo competition and the Trame project were promoted in social network campaigns, press and TV shows. Magazine, Youth Now, Original magazine published by Novak Djokovic Foundation, Family Weekend show Šarenica on Serbian Broadcasting TV RTS1, viewed by more than 1 million spectators, morning show on National Happy TV, evening show on regional Belgrade TV Studio B. Special promotional tool during the pandemic was a mask with Trame logo. Design of the Trame project website was an important task, and the result is functional website trameproject.com EU, which is continuously managed and promoted. Trame research on best practices is promoted in social campaigns and via website. In Turkey, 2 important events were held when the project Trame was presented to the wider public and with very elaborated promotional materials. Trame team was guest of Major of Četalka and attended 5th International Conservation, Restoration, Archaeology Museum and Technology Fair and Conference at Lutli Kishtar International Convention and Exhibition Center. 2 important articles prepared by Italian partners on the topic of the ancient migrations were published online in Archeostorie and Più Culture. Trame sticker workshop for students of the School of Design from Belgrade and Liceo Classico Pio Albertelli from Rome was marked by 2 lectures in school and online on the importance of cultural heritage, identity, and migrations. For the Trame project, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channels are open and functional, managed by Institute and Parco in collaboration with all partners. Emailing campaigns were done by sending 4 Trame newsletters so far.
I hope that you can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay. I hope that this was, I think that this video said everything. It's not important to say more than this. It is important to see what is done so far, and I hope that our leader, Parco Archeologico del Colosseo, is satisfied with our work. And also, I like to thank, I like to thank very, very much our partners from the School of Design, because without them, nothing in such a way would be possible. We enjoy this collaboration. We enjoy working with them, not only with students, with each other. We like to meet separately, like small project within the project. We are planning different activities as well. It is important that I think that within this Trame consortium, partners from the cultural heritage and schools have good connection. I think it is very good to have these links, and I like to thank Dragan Markovic for production of this video and for continuous support to all professors from the School of Design, and also one huge thank to our communication manager Ljubomir Jevtovic, because he is doing very, very important things regarding these social network campaigns. I would like to thank you one more time for participating in this event and share the word about Trame.
Thank you. I didn't pay anything to say this.
Okay, now I think that it's Arpad's turn to say a couple of words of intellectual output.
Okay, thank you, Jelena. I'm sharing my screen first. Yeah. So, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I will talk about the manual for teachers and heritage managers in my short presentation, and try to also to introduce the next sessions, which will be about the different best practices of different countries. So my presentation consists of two parts. The first part will be about the aim and the content of the manual, which we are working on. And the second part will be about the role of good practices in the project time frame and in the works of the partners. Some things were already mentioned, so I wouldn't attach them too much. The aim of the manual is to create, to develop good practices, to develop guidelines for teachers mainly, but also for heritage experts and heritage educators to be able to work together and to be able to work together with our special target group, which is the high school pupils. Our goals are just quickly to use cultural heritage in education as much as possible, to work with and to involve actively the high school pupils, to develop key competencies, and to strengthen the link between the management of heritage and the educators in schools, and also the local communities, which can be not only the teachers and educators, but also the parents or other communities which the students belong to. And of course, one of the main important things is, as this is an international project, to understand the common cultural roots of different countries and different cultures, and to find the similarities and common stories, which was the root, the basis of the European community. The most significant feature of Trame methodology is that it, as I said, actively encourages participants. It also encourages to interpret heritage and interpret different points of view, and to form own meaningful context and ideas about different stories and different heritage. For that, how is it possible? We build on three important aspects of educational process. The first one is, which is very, I think, especially special in this project, is that we build on the first-hand experience of heritage. So we not only that's why we have the heritage institutions as partners, and that's why they have a very important role in the educational process and also in the development of the educational methodology. The second aspect is the active involvement of the participants, and this is especially important because of the target group, the adolescents, which is the age group which most intensely search for deeper meanings and questions everything, and they are seeking their own identity, their own place in the world around them. And therefore, it is not enough to provide them just ready-made answers and information, but it is very important to ask them questions, to have them answer those questions, but to let them also answer those questions and form their own opinion about different happenings, different stories, different history and heritage around them. The third important aspect is the commitment to the idea of caring for heritage. Of course, if we involve heritage in education, it's not only as a tool for showing examples and connect ideas to concrete elements of the living space, but it is also important to help maintain these heritage. And of course, this is one of the mission, or this is the most important mission of the heritage managers. Therefore, it is very important if we involve heritage to help maintaining that heritage. So we will work with the students to establish, to strengthen the attitude of caring for heritage. The Trame learning process consists of several phases, several elements. These are the most important ones. There is an identification of the main themes to be developed, the research activities, exploration of the sites, reflection and creative activities, experiential interpretation and elaboration of final outputs. In each phase, the students are, of course, more or less but differently involved in, but we are working on, and that will be also part of the manual, what kind of involvement is possible and how to involve, which kind of tools and methods to use to involve the students properly in the different phases of the educational process. The content of the manual, as it is a tool-independent methodology, of course, because each partner has its own practice and own tools and own circumstances. So we cannot focus on a very established and fixed methodology, but we should find what are the similarities, what are the common in the different works of the partners. So we will focus on special questions and special topics within the educational process. That this is the list which we currently have, which can be a common basis for everyone. Just a couple of them. What do we mean on ancient migration? Of course, we will explain it, we will clarify it very much from the Trame point of view, from the Trame context, which was partly already mentioned by Francesca Borghini, that we also focus on contemporary migration, and we try to connect happenings today with ancient happenings, to the ancient happenings. The role of heritage in learning and identity development is also something which we should clarify. What can heritage help to establish or strengthen common communities, also the European community. So it is also important what European identity means to us and why is it important. That should be also clarified in the manual. And the role of Trame in promoting stewardship for those heritage which can help this identity building or identity maintenance or forming. The 8 key competencies was also mentioned already. We should explain what are the most important for us, kind of priorities, and we will check also the work of the partners and help to clarify if there is something missing, or we can add practices and tasks, exercises to help develop any of the 8 competencies. The elements of the participation of the students will be also emphasized, and the elements of the cooperation among the teachers and the heritage managers, both is very important. So cooperation and participation, I think these are the main key points of the educational process in Trame. The step of each educational phase will be also clear in the manual. The 6 phases I mentioned in my previous slides, and story and storytelling is something which is especially important for us. Of course, we can learn from different stories, and it is important for not only for this age group, but I think for every human being to learn things through the examples, through the stories of different people. And this is the most, I think, the most strong way to learn from others. Evaluation is also very important. It's not so common, I think, in different programs, current programs, but we would like to find a way how to get feedback from the students and how to evaluate the effectiveness of the education. What can they take with themselves for the future? And examples are which we collected already and will collect in the near future. So we will continue to collect the good practices, of course, and these examples will be connected to the different topics which I mentioned previously. So, and here comes the role of the good practices, of course, and I think this could be a good introduction to the next sessions, in which we will go through each country and see what kind of examples we collected there. I think we decided this at the very beginning of the project, that we need other programs to get inspired from them, and we also use the good practices, of the pilot programs, which are in the first phase of the project, to see what can we learn from each other, what can we learn from the partnership. So there is 2 directions of inspirations. One is the internal partnership, and the other is external good practices, external projects. And we wanted to learn from the external projects, like getting as deep information as possible. And we decided that this is possible only if we get first-hand information. We try to contact the members of the projects which we find interesting, and to talk to them and to try to get them answer to special questions we have. So we developed a kind of list of questions which could have been or which was the basis of this close discussions with others, and which helped us to get more information than what we can have usually from public project reports or articles or such things. So each partner organized different interviews in the partner countries, and after we collected more than 30 examples, we analyzed them, and we summarized the most interesting and important findings from them. We also defined what could be the idealistic initiative which we are looking for as an inspiration resource. Of course, it is very difficult to find a project which fit totally to the concept of Trame. Therefore, we just emphasized a couple of aspects, like it's a project which addresses also high school pupils, from which we can learn how to teach this age group, how to deal with them, how to involve them. We also try to find projects in which cooperation of the education and heritage sector was important, or followed similar learning process than Trame. I mean these 6 learning phases, or actively involve pupils, so find a way how to involve pupils, get new ideas, and of course we found a couple of projects which thematically builded on the ancient migratory flows, or discovered cultural impact of migration or diversity or involvedness. And the way to deal with local heritage is also important. So we try to find those projects and analyze the approaches of that project, which build very much on local heritage, and use them to form identity or formulate universal messages. So now I would really like to give the floor to the different partners in different countries, and to start the session to watch what kind of projects we could contact and learn from. So thank you for your attention. I stop sharing.
Thank you, Arpad. So now we have the session of primary research on best practices on national level in Turkey. So I'd like to give the floor to Eda.
Hi.
Hi, Eda.
Hi, yeah. Hi from Istanbul in a sunny day. So first of all, we are grateful for all our participants for allocating their time in their really busy schedule and joining us. First, I would like to thank them all. Today, we are amazing speakers from Istanbul. Now, I want to quickly pass it over to voice to them. And I want to start with Melisa Altıkatoğlu and Beril Oytun from Uçup Gitmesin project. So you have already known about them and their project. So yes, Beril, we can start with you.
Thank you very much for information and invitation. If you excuse me, may I share?
Yes, you may.
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. Today me and Beril will present cultural heritage awareness and what we are doing in regarding that. I will start first discussing about the heritage and awareness, and then Beril will take the lead. So what is cultural heritage preservation awareness? Heritage comes in both tangible and intangible shapes, such as buildings, landscape, memories, cultures, and values. When we look at the cultural heritage, we can conduct that. It can provide an automatic sense of unity and belonging within a group and allows us to better understand previous generation and the history of where we come from. So the cultural heritage preservation awareness means that to be conscious about the past, now and the future. To what extent we know about our history, to what extent we can preserve, and to what extent we will hand in and convey to our histories to younger generations. So why it is important to us? Because there are so many uses of heritage, but one of the primary aims of heritage conservation is to enhance the historic environment and its sustainability, thereby establishing the contribution to a desirable place to live and connecting society with the place where they live. Cultural heritage represents our history and our identity, our bond to the past, to our present and the future. In an era of globalization, cultural heritage helps us to remember our cultural diversity and develop mutual respect among different cultures, to sustain our history today's world and keep them for new generations. So how can we promote and boost the awareness? The promotion of the cultural heritage has been done in many different ways, such as heritage festivals, heritage walks, heritage awards, and it's possible by education as well as following the traditional livelihood of ours. We would like to keep this tradition both consciously and unconscious way. With the help of technological advancement, we want to boost society impact to its young and potential members by using social enterprise assets for a systematic change. Now, Beryl will deep dive into the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. I'd like to continue presenting about awareness, also the project. It's essential to have the multi-stakeholder consultation process, including the government, non-governmental organization, and entrepreneurs. More operational support, cooperation, and active involvement from the public are required to fulfill in creating awareness on cultural heritage. Uçup Gitmesin is a social enterprise project that comprises a group of people who do not want to remain silent on the condition of damaged cultural heritage that we see around us. Our multidisciplinary team consists of designers, architects, and art historians. The project is based on a methodology focused on promotion of active participation and aims to spread the awareness of claiming ownership in cultural heritage and tradition at local, regional, and national. Let me tell you how it works. When this citizen sees the current situation of the neglected and damaged cultural heritage or element, they take a photo or videos. By doing this, the first step is completing. At the second, later they send a notice via our social media or hashtag Uçup Gitmesin. When we receive it, our team studies these notices on site and makes the necessary applications. The last step, proper intervention are done by authorized institutions. We announce and share the result of preservation process with everyone. So at the end, the citizen who took the photo of asset or heritage prevented a cultural heritage from flying away. As we all know, if we found out an asset in a bad situation, there are plenty of challenges that we can face, like we might not know where to apply or bureaucratic procedures. With our action, the purpose is to make it easier for anyone and also allowing them to see themselves as an actor. We have seen the notice and application process, but not only being this, we are also trying to working for spreading the awareness with our followers on social media by sharing series of contents periodically. In conclusion, this is a project, this is an effort that acting as a bridge between people and organizations, trying to expand our volunteers in this context. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you. Thank you, Beryl and Melissa. This Uçup Gitmesin is a really a rising voice in Turkey in terms of preserving cultural heritage. So we want to thank you for your efforts. And I'm sure my colleagues and partners from other countries will follow your social media as well. So now,
thank you very much.
Yes.
Sorry, we will share the further information on chat. Thank you very much for the invitation.
You're welcome. Now we have a really important figure with us, Associated Professor, he's Alparslan Kuzucuoğlu. He is an important lecturer, academician, and the writer of important publications and important books on cultural heritage. So we are proud of having him with us today. Hi, Mr. Alparslan Kuzucuoğlu.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much, my colleague Eda Güzelçiçek from Istanbul Çatalca National Education Directorate and other Trame project members. Thank you very much for your kind invitation. I would like to extend my warmest regards and deepest sincerely thanks, special thanks for you. Really big chance for us, this beautiful moment being with you, wonderful for me. As you know, museums, libraries, archives, buildings, and art galleries, archaeological sites, they are cultural centers and information centers, and these information resources are presented in the most appropriate way from the past to future. They have a bridge duty from past to future. And also cultural heritage centers are institutions that carry historical artifacts from the past to future and contain many artifacts. Protecting the cultural heritage in museums, minimizing possible disaster and other risks, and mobilizing all opportunities are very essential. As you know, there are many, many risks, most of them oriented by human oriented, biological, chemical, especially disasters. They are very devastating. Left side KÖME archives building collapsed, and some museums faced by fires, floods, hurricanes, and most important one is earthquakes. Many artifacts and cultural heritage objects damaged by the disasters, unfortunately. If precautions are not taken or neglected, it can be causes loss of life and injuries, material and property damage. There are some terminologies: hazard, risk, vulnerability. If we want to overcome all of these, we would like to improve our capacity. Capacity building is very important. And as you know, there are many risks and non-structural risks. Also, risk monitoring is very important. I joined before European Union Memory project. This project was especially focused on air pollution risks on cultural heritage, and I was end user advisor at this project. It was carried out in Germany, Sweden, Norway and Spain. And we collaborate Norway Air Research Institute and Germany Fraunhofer Institute about this air pollution risk, and we collaborate our other colleagues, European colleagues. And risk assessment also very important. This is our one of the projects. This is historical peninsula in Istanbul, as you know, UNESCO cultural heritage sites. And we focus on risk response plans and fire risks, risky areas. And especially I joined and organized very important event, Turkey's largest library exercise and disaster drill in Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, Atatürk Library in Taksim. Maybe some of you visited Taksim, Istanbul, very famous place. This is very near to Taksim Square. And we evacuate 300 users from the buildings. And we gave briefings, rescue teams, health teams, and other municipality teams. And also it was my doctorate program, Beylerbeyi Palace risk analysis. We use GIS tools and the GIS vehicles in this projects. We prepared many risk maps by GIS, temperature, light, pest, disaster, dust, something like that. Many risk overall all risks we examine. And with one Italian professor, Dr. Angelo Guarino, we organize an important congress in Istanbul, Cultural Heritage Congress, and 300 European researchers join this important event, and 4 volumes published after the Congress. Actually, I would like to talk about one of the NGO. I am deputy mayor of this NGO, Cultural Heritage Conservation and Research Association. You can follow the website kumat.org, and this NGO, we organize many webinars and seminars, especially about on the cultural heritage. Our head of NGO, Mr. Serkan Geduk, is Kocaeli Museum Director. So mainly we focused on Kocaeli, but also we organized preventive conservation conference, and 100 researchers join this conference in Antalya. And also we take the support from the European Union Civil Think program. Also it was very successful workshop. After the workshop, we published this conference book newly. 26 writer joined, and 26 chapter also published in this book. It is first extended book about the cultural heritage preventive conservation. And we would like to progress and develop this kind of publication and projects. Also, I am head of Search and Rescue and Emergency Aid Association, AKAI. And we also go to visit the schools, safe cultural heritage seminars, webinars. We try to teach and tell the students about the cultural heritage importance. And last of my words, we need to good practice indeed. We will success all together, and we are ready for all for collaboration for any kind of projects, studies, and publications. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you for your great contribution. We can share these ones with our colleagues as well. Thank you. And I want to quickly pass it over to İrem Saçar from Fatih Sultan Mehmet Vakıf University Research Center representative. Hi, İrem.
Hello.
She's an
Hello,
architect
everyone.
as well. Yes.
I think you can see my screen.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I can start at the beginning. The word meaning of Kuram in English is theory. It's the short abbreviation for the Turkish meaning of Research Center for the Conservation of Cultural Property of Foundations. We are basically a research center under the Fatih Sultan Mehmet Vakıf University, and we have founded in 2014 with the grants that was given with the Istanbul Development Agency. Our major activities are material analysis of cultural heritage buildings, research and development, management of grant projects, and occupational training and certification. I can say that for Turkey, the major problem is that we lead lack of scientific applications in the field of restoration. For the 10 years, for a decade, maybe there are more applications, there are no new activities about this, but we aim to increase the scientific studies in the area. Problems and solutions, actually for the conservation area, this is what you always seek for, and this is what we always seek for. We act as a connection between the sector operating in the field of practice and the academic sector and the freelance workers and also students, because the lack of connection between them actually is the problem around here. We can divide our activities in four parts. Laboratory analysis, we provide wet chemistry tests, physico-mechanical tests, petrography tests, mechanical tests, non-destructive and advanced analysis tests. And we prepare conservation and material reports and on some other issues as well. We also, as part of a university research center, we also host vocational trainings for the staff of institutions such as Ministry of Culture or Director General of WACs or foundations, I can say. We also organize seminars for students, for the freelancers working in the area of cultural heritage. We prepare panels and conferences. And for the last around 4 years, we work on project management as well. We work on grant projects, right on the preparation of the projects and the conducting of it, coordination of the projects. This is the local and global reports that we prepared. We worked in a lot of different places of the world and different places of Turkey. As I said, we work on research and development mostly. For example, some people with an idea of any lime production that they think that we can be used in the conservation area. We make research on these kind of things. For the grant projects that we had done, Kuram was founded as part of a grant project by Istanbul Development Agency in 2012. And in 2019, we completed the project Kuram Lonca Istanbul Traditional Arts and Crafts Workshops. Through this project, we completed some workshop with students that applied to this program. And the main aim of this traditional arts and crafts workshops is to bring up new experts working in the area. For example, you need to find some people, especially working in the production of window, the wooden windows. And in 2020, we started the project Chrome Vocational Test Center as a part of a European Union project. This is some data from the Chrome Lonca and Vocational Test Center projects. Our test center will be fully operational on April 2022. And we will be testing and certifying people working in the area of conservation under the National Vocational Standards for Level 4 and 5 and Conservation Building Test Technician standards. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, İrem. It's a very pleasure for us to listen to you. And if you like to share your presentation with us, I will share with my colleagues as well.
Okay.
Now we have another dedicated and driven figure in cultural heritage, a representative of Friends of Cultural Heritage, Saadet Güner, is with us. Hi. Your voice. Yes. Sesinizi alamıyoruz Saadet Hocam. We can't hear you. No. Kulaklıktan mı acaba? Duyamıyoruz sizi.
Do you hear me?
Sure. Yes. Yes. Now it's okay.
Do you hear me?
Yes, it's okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. This small problem. I present my deepest and sincere thanks to invite me to and give the floor for this Zoom meeting, Trame project Zoom meeting. I wish you great success for your EU projects coordination and okay. Can I start? Can you start my?
Yes. Our time is a bit limited and busy, so we can start now.
Okay. Okay. Maybe we can, if we have time, we can show our video with 3 minutes, and but we can start our works, activities, EU projects, our association. Kültürel Mirasın Dostları Derneği, Friends of Cultural Heritage Association, founded in Istanbul in 2005. We have got 44 members. Most of them were academicians. We work voluntary workers in general university students. We coordinated 6 EU projects as a lead applicant. We also took part as a co-applicant and associate member in EU projects, 5 EU projects. We create activities for UNESCO. We organize the email campaigns about the conservation, restoration of the cultural heritage, struggle against illicit trade of the cultural properties, and protection of the cultural heritage in armed conflicts. You can see we work. You can see we start EU projects. Okay. The first projects in Turkey, we coordinated together with the 9 Eylül University. Another project together with the Italian partners, I think Sapienza University. Another project together with ICOM and Ankara's Museum of Anatolian Civilization. Another projects together with the Italian and Georgian partners. Another small projects together with the Civil Düşün program. And this is the best practice. I will show, I will give you more details about this project later. We celebrated the 10th anniversary by translating UNESCO Cultural Heritage Protection Handbooks from English into Turkish with our own means. They were published and distributed. You can see distributed this project. This is our email campaigns about the struggle for the illustrate of the cultural heritage with the contribution of the Minister of Culture and Tourism. Training on capacity building of the KÜME members, for KÜME members were trained. Numbers, training on capacity for training program organized for the KÜME members, and 9 members took part in this training. We organized international national conference. We have got a lot of publications as an output of the projects and our activities. We have got also digital publication. We translate Canadian conservation as to CCI notes and published as a digital publication. We in last years we organized international conference. International virtual conference on museums and international conference cultural heritage and new technologies. You can see training paper presented with our works training program seminar to the Konak minus Konak staff of Konak Municipality in Izmir about the protection of the cultural heritage within the framework of the international legislation, EU legislation. Last, okay, our posters, organization. Okay. I think, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. It's
okay.
Really fascinating to see all them. If you wish, we can share the YouTube link so my colleagues can have chance to watch full video. If you click, you can share the link from the chat and they will have chance to watch the full video. Thank you for your great contributions. We hope to collaborate all our colleagues from Turkey in training sessions as well. It's a great pleasure for us. Thank you, Mr. Saadet Günertiniz.
I just would like to remind all of the participants to stick the timetable and be in time, because although I would enjoy to listen to all of these projects, this is not that kind of the event. This is the event where we are sharing and communicating our results. So we need to be, that is why we need to be very quickly and effective. And so please just try to summarize the most important parts. So Francesca, if you don't mind,
yes.
Do you agree with this?
Yes, I agree. And so you can give the floor to second session. Yes.
Milica, it's your turn. Just microphone.
Okay, yeah. Hello, everyone. And thanks for the opportunity to be here with you and to hear all of the lovely projects you have presented. Now I would like to ask Luba to start our presentation, to share screen actually. And I will tell all of you that we have prepared just one single common PowerPoint presentation. So I will give a short introduction of what we have done. And I will also introduce 3 projects of which we don't have representatives today here with us. And then I will give the floor to our lovely colleagues who are here today with us. So please, Luba, switch to the next slide. Okay, thank you. So as you know, we are the Institute of Archaeology, and we are part of the Trame project together with School of Design from Belgrade. My humble self, I am the researcher and a principal researcher, while the researchers are Milica Rodic from the School of Design and my colleague Jelena Anđelković-Graša from the Institute of Archaeology. We have conducted 6 interviews during the period of February and March 2021. But today we will take the liberty to present another project which appeared only in April, by the time we have already finished all our interviews. Okay, and I will now immediately go to the first project. Thank you, Luba. The first project I will tell you about was done with the grammar school from Požarevac. Interviewee was Jovana Radenković. She is a PhD student at the Department of Classical Studies of the University of Belgrade, and she teaches Latin language in the grammar school of Požarevac. The name of her project was De Ficciones. It was a school project. Please, Luba, switch to the next slide. I will just give a short description of the project. Well, her brilliant idea was she aimed at the school children at the age of between 14 and 18 years. And her idea was to give the students of the first year of grammar school, they are at the age of 14 or 15 years, they had to, let's say, to put up different inscriptions and texts. And then they carved them on clay plates. After that, that was the first phase of this project. So the students were actually, they had to set up texts and to translate them into the Latin language and then to carve them into the plates. After that, they took the plates and they dug them somewhere in Viminacium, which is the site also under it is a part of the Institute of Archaeology. So we also had our part in this project. They buried those plates somewhere on the site. And then later on, students from the older years, from the second, third, and fourth year of the grammar school, they were brought to the site and they excavated the plates. Of course, the plates were crashed, as you can see on the pictures. So they had to put them together to read the texts and to translate them into our language. So it was a lot of fun. Also, sorry, Luba. Also, the texts were actually the content of texts was from everyday life, but there were also some funny parts. So everyone who took part in this project really enjoyed it. So now we can skip to the next slide, please. Yes, the second one was also conducted at Viminacium. It was conducted by Ljiljana Jović. She is an art historian and also an expert guide at the site of Viminacium. The name of the educational program was the School of Virtual Archaeology. And the target group were students of the age of 16 years. They had to use iPads and the specific software, and so they were walking around the site and they were able to see virtually, of course, to see different buildings, to talk to Romans, and also to try on different garments, helmets, and things like that. So the goal of this project was to bring the Roman world closer to the students. Thank you. So the next slide. This one was conducted in Belgrade. The interviewee was Bojana Ibreiter Gazibara. She's a senior conservator at the Institute for Protection of Cultural Monuments of the city of Belgrade. And her idea was, her project actually was named Belgrade Culture, Belcool City Tour. Was also, it also aimed at the children of the age between 15 and 18 years. The idea was to involve several schools, high schools as we call them, and to also the idea was to choose some topics and to divide them among the students. Each group of students had to prepare something about a specific monument and give a kind of a lecture to the students of other schools. So actually it was a kind of exchange of knowledge, of course. And at the end of the project, all the participants took a common walk through the city of Belgrade, and each group of students in front of the very specific monument, each group of students had to give a lecture in vivo practically, also showing the monument itself directly. So I have presented here the three projects we conducted. We interviewed actually, and now we have four colleagues. And I would first like to call, I think Jasmina Davidovic is the first one who I will ask her to tell us something about her project. Ljubo, please. Yes, it is Jasmina Davidovic. She's an archaeologist and a museum counselor at the Museum of Srem. She will now tell us about her project of the Avars in Sirmium.
Just to say hello to everyone and thank you for having me in your project. It was such a nice experience to speak about things I do in my museum. My institution, Museum of Srem, is a small museum, but it has got a huge heritage base, especially from the Roman times. But as you know, people can be interested in some other periods. And of course, in my town, people really like Avars and their migration and conquering of the Roman city of Sirmium, which lies beneath today's Sremska Mitrovica. I was actually approached with this workshop. I was actually approached by a history teacher from a high school because she had one new task to do in school, in a curriculum, in her school curriculum, which was, I can translate that as project teaching. So she told me that she wants to do this new stuff and also that pupils speak and learn more about Avars in Sirmium. So I decided to answer to her request in a way of a workshop that we invite all students of 16 and 17 years of age to come to the museum. We had lots of meetings. They had their tasks to fulfill. Many of the tasks were connected with different ways of approaching to historical context, through literature, through some lectures, and also with practical content, archaeological content, which was actually, I showed them a material that we've got in our museum connected with the Avars being in our territory, which was, I think, one of the most interesting part of the project. They were so interesting to touch and to feel that in that moment. So at the end of the project, they all, it was a process. I don't have time to talk about the process of doing this workshop, but at the end of the project, we did the presentation, public presentation. All of them had their speeches or
public lectures on topics that they were in charge of. And at the end of that, we showed the film. One of the pupils, that was their idea, made a film on ours. And also one girl made a picture of a Avaric horseman warrior. So we had almost all elements incorporated in this workshop. And we also opened small exhibition on Avaric artifacts that we keep in our museum. So I can tell you that this project was published in the high school newspapers, and it was really interesting to see reactions of the students and teachers. And it was also, I've got one reaction from one of the pupils. She enrolled archaeology, and she's going to be archaeologist. She's now first year of archaeology.
Yeah, so thank you very much for this quick and brief, but really very good presentation of your project. Now I would like to skip to the next one. I will now call Tijana Dinic. She's a teacher at the School of Design in Belgrade, and to tell us a little bit more about the International Exchange Project and the Mosaic workshop they conducted within their school. Tijana?
Okay. Hello, everybody. I would like to tell you just a few words, actually sentences about these projects. So you are going to see photographs from 2 workshops. These workshops were part of the International Exchange Program, and it was conducted by our school in Belgrade, School of Design, and Liceo Artistico Enrico e Umberto Nordio from Trieste. And this international collaboration started in 2011. And later on, with this particular school, we had 2 exchanges, two student exchanges. One was held in 2012, and the other one was held in 2015. In the meantime, since this project was supported by a Central European initiative, in the meantime, not only our 2 schools were involved in this project, but we were joined by 5 other countries. And we had a meeting in Budapest in 2013. So different countries from Central European region also joined this project. So we have a network of art schools called CEI Design Net. So during these exchanges, maybe I should actually explain how that worked. During these exchanges, students from Serbia firstly visited their colleagues in Trieste, and they stayed for 1 week. We had about 20 students with 2 teachers from each side. Afterwards, students from Trieste visited Belgrade, and they stayed for the same period of time. So since I was involved in this project from the very beginning till the end, from what I observed and learned, there are maybe 4 stages of importance, of important points that we actually achieved through these projects. Firstly, we noticed that it was very important as a first step for our students to get to know the culture of the country they visited through direct contact with families and with students they stayed with. Second point of interest could be that students not only got to know common life of the country, but they also got to know how the school system works, because they were involved in school activities for the period of 1 work week. And third point of interest was that we had many events organized for the children, for the students on both parts. And we actually organized a large amount of professionally guided tours, visits, lectures. And they were mostly focused on the cultural landmarks of each country, but with some social structures, etc. So we saw a great deal of those cultural landmarks during those visits. And the final point of interest and the final stage of our exchange were these workshops that you can see right now. We organized one workshop in mosaic, making mosaic, and the other workshop involved action painting. We chose one old medium and then one new medium for our students to try to make their joint project. And of course, all the students who were involved in the project were in exchange were involved in these final projects.
Excuse me, Tiana, I will just have to interrupt you shortly to ask Luba to show another slide, the next one, please, because this is the one you are talking about the action. So just to have the illustration.
There were two. This was all done in 2015 during the second exchange cycle we had. And our results were really fantastic, and this collaboration, and it's, I think, important for students of these age ranges to have that peer bonding and to actually rely each other's culture in their age group. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tiana, for this great explanation. And now I would like to call Vlada Nojkovic. He is the general manager of the archaeological site Lepenski Vir, and I will ask him to present his project called Journey to the Beginnings. Vlada, the stage is yours.
I hope yeah, it's fine.
Yes.
Thank you. Hello to everybody. My name is Vladimir Nojkovic. As Milica said, I'm working on archaeological site Lepenski Vir. And the question was about how we used and where we involved teenagers and a group of young people in some development of some project. So we have one project called Journey to the Beginnings, financed by Creative Europe program. The partners were from Hungary, Croatia, Serbia, and Romania. So Arpad Bošćan, who made presentation today here from KÖME from Hungary, was also one of the main partners in this project. We used their knowledge and experience a lot, but the main goal of this project was to connect 4 different archaeological sites, prehistorical archaeological sites along the river Danube into the one story. So generally the idea was to use contemporary arts and artists in the creation of some level of presentation which would be suitable for all these 4 archaeological sites. One archaeological site is Lepenski Vir, of course. The other one was from Romania, also from Iron Gate Museum. Third one was in Croatia, Vučedol culture from Vukovar, and fourth one was Vacha culture from Matrica Museum in Százhalombatta in Hungary. One of the tasks of this project was to create some digital game which would be suitable for people to learn a little bit more about all of these 4 cultures. And artists who were here during the implementation of the projects, they had a task to create this kind of video game or digital game. We call it digital game. Of course, in one moment we had a question, who will actually give us feedback? Is this good? How it's functioning? Because we suppose that we are not too much in this subject. So we made agreement with the local tourism high school. So the kids from this high school took participation in this part of the project. And their goal was to follow all the steps of Lepenski Vir, then to get closer to this game, and then to give us feedback about the parts of the game. Generally, we use this target group of young people because digital tools are mostly used by young people, and we realized that for youngsters and classical presentation of cultural heritage is not so interested if they're, of course, not interested exactly in that subject. But in general, we have to actually to move ourselves towards to them. So this digital game was one of the tools. And then we decided to connect them with the artist. And so they were on Lepenski Vir, they participated, they give us feedback, and then artists use this information to make final version of this digital game. So on today, everybody can download this digital game from Google Play or App Store. So the name of the game is Journey to the Beginnings, and then in this game you actually have to fulfill several tasks, and then it is open for you next levels, next steps. So it's not too complicated, but somehow it is good to understand the differences between prehistorical cultures from different periods, like from a Mesolithic period, Neolithic period, and from Bronze Age period. So final result is available all the time on these digital platforms, and we think that we had a good experience collected from these kids. So basically that's it. It's, I don't know if you have if you need any further information. I think I get.
I think we will have at the end. We have one more presenter from Serbia, and then I think we there were questions and answers planned, but okay, we will see. Now I would like to ask Tijana Stanković-Pešterac, Senior Curator and Director of the Museum of Vojvodina, to join us and to present her e-museum museum platform. Tijana, the stage is yours.
Hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to present our project. It was quite a sudden, but okay. I have to tell that the Museum of Vojvodina is the largest museum of a complex type in the territory of Serbia, which means that we deal with archaeological, ethnological, historical, art historical collections. What we do also is, and we have a really large tradition when we consider education. So we have an educational unit within the museum for the last 45 years. This project is called e-museum, and it is a platform for the museum education. But it's a completely different kind of platform because we always have some kind of cooperation with preschools, high schools, elementary schools, as well as the universities. But this time we decided to make something which will be a place of a meeting, not only between the curators and museum educators, but also a meeting with school staff, with the teaching staff. So we created within the Museum of Vojvodina, together with a company from Belgrade called CEST company, their IT company. We created this platform, and the idea was to present museum contents, but to connect it with teaching units. So we actually use museum objects and then make a video or some kind of interpretation and tell a lesson which is from history, from geography, from art history, whatever. And it is actually related to the children from the 2nd until the 5th grade. So this platform is basically also recognized by the Ministry of Culture and Information in Serbia and they decided to conduct trainings for work because it's always a necessary thing. And so the employees in the museum could learn how to use this platform. By the end of the year, we'll have also a kind of a application which will be used through mobile phones, and especially by the final consumers. And of course, the final consumers are children. So what we did is actually that we cooperated with the teachers. We created contents. We told stories about museum objects and then connected them to the teaching units. And in the end, the idea is to make children feel comfortable in the museum, to make them learn about museum objects and about subjects which they learn at school, but in an interesting way. So it's a kind of, I must say, it's a challenge. It's not very easy to create a content of such kind. And I, as a curator, I was really interested in this thing, and we had to create the content and write certain subjects for months. So it is something that we're still learning. A new kind of interpretation of museum objects is necessary because museums are changing, and they have to change in order to actually survive in this new modern world. And it's also important to note that if we create contents and if we interpret cultural heritage in the right manner, and we use information and communication technologies, then in a right manner also, not to use it more than we should. It's very important. Then we will have the right result, and then we will have what we want, children in the museum, because they are the future of the museums.
Etienne, thank you very much. And with your presentation, I would like to close our session here. So Lubo, please, the last slide. Okay, thank you. And I give the floor to Jelena.
I would like to thank Tiana very much for this participation. I know that we had that you get my invitation in the last minute, but I know that you are working a lot as we do. So I know that you understand the pressure of you know, this tight schedule. So thank you again, and thank all of our participants into this roundtable.
Thank you. Bye bye.
So now we are moving to the session of Italy. So first, I want to give the floor to Francesca Di Pasquale from the Italian Ministry of Culture, Soprintendenza Archivistica della Sicilia, Archivio di Stato di Palermo. I want to thank very much Francesca for participating, because I think she's on holiday. So thank you very much. And so we investigated all the projects we found about migration and multiculturalism at the ministerial level and everywhere. And I found this connected with cultural heritage managers and ministry. And then Michela will introduce the one, the projects by schools. So Francesca, can you share the screen?
Hello. Thank you, Francesca. Now I will try to share my screen. Okay. Okay. So, good morning. I will be very brief. I will present this activity with high school students we prepared in our institute. So the Soprintendenza Archivistica della Sicilia, Archivio di Stato di Palermo, proposed an activity entitled Multiculturalism and Migration in Sicily through the records of the State Archives of Palermo from 12th to 19th centuries. It is a guided tour of its archives for high school students. During the visit, together with the student, we read and analyze records on parchment and on paper that shed light on the encounters of women and men from different origins and that took place in Sicily from the Middle Ages to the second post-war period. The main goal is to shed light and reflect on the presence, exchanges, and interweaving of populations from different areas of the Mediterranean and of different faiths in the Sicilian territory. In particular, during the visit, I show records that illustrate the presence and activities of the Arab, Jewish, and Gypsy communities through the medieval, early modern, and modern age. In this short presentation, I focus on 5 of the 15 records that I present the students during their visit to the State Archives in Palermo. And first record is a parchment and is part of Commenda della Magione, the Commenda della Magione Archival Fund. And it testifies to a donation of a house made by a marble worker belonging to the Arab Christian community present in Sicily during the Swabian domination, that is 12th and 13th centuries. As can be seen, Arabic is still the language of use, while Greek is the high language. The second record is part of the Real Cancelleria Fund and dates back to 1402. It attests that Levi da Cento, a Jew and law teacher in Sciacca, is reconfirmed by King Martino in his role. The document, this record, testifies to the knowledge of Arabic also in Sciacca Jewish community, as well as among those of Mazara and Trapani, not only for commercial needs, but also for reason of, let's say, counter-acculturation, such as resistance to forced conversion carried out over the centuries. The rabbis and the law teachers were the guardians, let's say, of the linguistic continuity and the cultural integrity, who supervised that no deviations of transgression from the Torah occurred. The third record is part of the Protonotaro del Regno Fund and dates back to 1547, and it's the appointment of Marino di Amato as captain of the Gypsies, a figure who had civil and criminal judicial powers over the community, as well as his predecessor, Nicolao Antonio di Amato, deceased. The fourth record is part of a correspondence that dates back to 1732 and is part of the Real Segreteria Fund. It focused on the capture of a Tunisian boat commanded by Rais Mustafa Ali by 4 feluccas from Lipari Island. The 10 Moors on the Tunisian boat were sold as slaves. This provoked the, I quote, general uprising of these populaccio, let's say, dregs of society against us as the consul in Tunis writes, because the capture and the sale of the Moors as slaves would have violated the peace stipulated at the beginning of 18th century with the Sublime Porta. Finally, the fifth document is part of the Arciconfraternita per la Redenzione dei Cattivi, Arciconfraternity for the Redemptions of the Slaves Fund, and is a catalogue of the Sicilian slaves redeemed by the African regencies, and in particular from Tunis, From the year 1787 to the year 1804, therefore dating back to the last period of the race war in the Mediterranean, we find a list of 167 redeemed slaves with indication of name, origin, age, and the amount paid for their ransom. And so that's it. I concluded this very brief presentation of our guided tour.
Thank you, Francesca. I think this is really very interesting because it sheds light on this multiculturalism in Sicily that, of course, we know of, but we don't have very much information, and also these exchanges of population from Sicily to North Africa and migration from Sicily to the south, which is very interesting, and it's very important to share it with the students, I think. And so now I ask Michela to introduce the other speakers. Thank you, Francesca.
Okay, thank you, Francesca. I am Michela Nocita from Liceo Classico Pio Albertelli. For our pupils studying the ancient world, it's not a new task as we study Greek and Latin sources. And our pupils could study Greek and Latin epigraphy in the epigraphical gallery at La Sapienza University in Rome, for example. They took part to diggings in Rome and outside Rome, and they took part to cultural exhibitions in many museums in Rome. They had as well Erasmus Plus and cultural exchanges. And we had a very lifelong project called Mare Nostrum, and after this title, the title was changed in Occhio Invisibile, and that project now it's closed, has the same themes Trame has nowadays. So I think that our pupils will have a wiser horizon thanks to Trame. But today I'm very glad to introduce you three teachers. The first one is Barbara Antonini. She comes from another school in Rome, Liceo Cavour. She will speak to us about a project, a European project, Comenius. She took part. Now I share the video. Okay, here you are. Good morning, Barbara.
Hello, everybody, and thanks very much for your invite. The title of the project I get involved was called European Multicultural Society and Citizenship, that took place in 2010 and 11, and 4 foreign delegations from Spain, Holland, Sweden, and Germany, made up of 10 teachers and 22 pupils, were guests of Liceo Machiavelli. And after the mobility in Holland, we started from Holland. In November, they were our host in Rome. And the pupils live with the families, with our family of our students. And they attended business meetings and followed an intense cultural and entertainment program prepared by Italian teachers. And each delegation they went also to Netherlands to April 2011. The Italian presentation include video, interview, and made by our student and teacher in the Esquilino neighborhood. And the object of the project were the promotion of European citizenship based on tolerance, respect, and multicultural dialogue, to develop the European dimension in partner school, encourage awareness of multiculturalism in our city and in Europe especially, enhance the importance of the social spaces in our city by making known the cultural heritage connected to them and sharing with partner countries, to develop communication skills in English and other foreign language, to develop the use of information and communication technologies. Pupils coordinated by teachers worked on joint projects with European partners using the eTwinning platform. And over the course of 2 years, they carry on 5 project meetings, one of in each countries. These projects are usually developed by the Ministry of Education and by external institutions as a European agency. For example, it was a Comenius project in continuity with the project starting in 2010, with the Comenius project European and Multicultural Society and Citizen. Liceo Machiavelli Erasmus Plus project will continue next year with building up our common future, dressing the world of tomorrow. And this project, it will take place from 2020 to 2023. And participating countries will be Belgium, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, Spain, and Sweden.
Great, thank you, Barbara. This project is very interesting because it has got the main theme of Trame, and many congratulations to you. And now he's our chief teacher of the Liceo Classico Albertelli for Erasmus Plus, Professoressa Basile. Now I try to...
Yes. Hello, everyone. Can you see me?
Sure. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Can you listen to me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So I'll talk about one of the projects I took part in these last years. And this is the project in the slides that you put there. So the name of the project that was just between schools, high schools, and the name was STEM. So it's finished now, and I have other projects on the way, but we had to stop for the pandemic, of course. And STEM was especially based on the renewable energies, and so each country focused the attention on one of these energies. So for example, in Turkey, in Denizli, exactly, in the southwestern part of Turkey, it was the first meeting there. And it was very interesting because, as the other teacher said, all our students were hosted by the people, by Turkish people. And of course, when they came to Italy, it was the same. So there was the youth exchange, very interesting. And as you can see, this is the high school when we went. And the students had the opportunities to have a lot of experiences with the workshops, with, well, I'm in the middle, as you can see. And these are all the teachers who took part in the project, and also the headmaster of the school. And it was very interesting because we focused on this subject, that is to say energy. And the students had many laboratories for physics, mathematics, so they could share all their ideas with the help of the teachers, of course. And we also met very good people there. And so we started in Portugal, then we went to Turkey for the first visit. And we also visited, as you can see in the slide, Laodicea, and it was very, very interesting. And the students had to learn something before leaving from Italy, and also the other students did the same in the other countries. And so when we went there, they could touch the culture of the site, and they also, especially the Italian students, I made many comparisons with all the things that are in Rome. And so they had to say many things, and I can also explain to the others. And this is a very nice slide. This is just next to the school where we were host. And what can I say? The most important thing, this collaboration and cooperations between schools is very good for students and also for teachers, because we can open our mind, we can meet different cultures and speak English and travel. And so I'm very sorry we stopped for this last year, because I had other 3 projects to go on with, but we had to stop. So I think that's enough. I don't know if you want to ask me something.
Elvana, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your beautiful presentation. We had a lot of cultural exchange abroad. You participated, but this one was so important and significant for us, because we joined with Turkey nowadays this project Trame, and every time people from abroad come to Liceo Pila Albertelli, our pupils sing, because we have a wonderful choir with a very large repertoire. I hope you will be able to hear them, to hear the pupils singing when you come. And now Professor Saverio Paoletta, he comes from Liceo Rossellini. His name has a particular meaning for us. Rossellini was the great regisseur, a great movie maker, and in fact he is a movie maker too. Good evening, Saverio.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, now I'm not Elisabetta. Elisabetta is my wife, but I cannot enter with my name. But my wife, she still is a teacher in Pila Albertelli, so we are all linked. I'm not a teacher in Pila Albertelli, but I've been collaborating for a long time with Liceo Pila Albertelli because they do a lot of wonderful things about, multiculturalism and dialogue and between culture and people from different origins. I'm a teacher from Roberto Rossellini Film School. It's the secondary film school in Italy, actually, probably the unique school in Europe because it covers up almost all the professionals in cinema. Probably it's definitely the only one in Italy. It's probably the only one in Europe, or one of the very few in Europe, but we collaborate a lot with Piero Albertelli. On which basis? What I'm going to talk about for only a couple of minutes is a project that is called Lampi dell'Albertelli, which is called Lampi dell'Albertelli. It's a filming project. We actually put together students, teachers, and experts from outside the school. Actually, not only experts, but also common people that were somehow linked to some people who went to the Pila Albertelli when they were young. And we're talking about, very important people like Enrico Fermi, who was a scientist, very important. He collaborated also in creating the atomic bomb, but he was not very keen on war. And also, like, for example, Carlo Cassola, a writer, or Marincola, who was the first and only Black man partisan in the anti-fascist war in Italy. Now, I'm happy to finish this list with Marincola because the project we did at the end of the day was about democracy. It was about multiculturalism. It was about dialogue. And we can say it was about anti-fascism. Because all of the people we were remembering, they were somehow hit by the totalitarianism and by the violence of the fascism. It was nice to share the process of creating the film all together with students as well. And this project also involved watching quite a few films that were connected to those people as well. The project also involved strolling around the area where the Pila Albertelli and CEST, where the Pila Albertelli is, which is an area in Rome near the station, near the central station. It's called Piazza Vittorio, where there are a lot of migrants. And we also had the opportunity to establish a lot of relationships and links with communities that usually don't meet up with the students of Piero Albertelli. So it was also nice for this, and I was very happy and proud to be part of this project, and I really hope that we can work again together on this path. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Saverio. This is the old camera on filing cabinet in Cinefermi. You know very well this classroom, and thank you to everybody. We stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Michela. So now we have the Hungarian. We have the Hungarian best practices. I leave the floor to Reka.
Yes, hello.
And
do
to
you hear
Arpa.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. We are a bit late, Reka, so we should not be too long.
Yeah,
Try
we're
to
trying
keep the
to
time.
Yeah,
Okay.
trying to be really short. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you that we can participate in this event, and I will share my screen because we created one big presentation. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I will give the word to Daniel Pule, who will talk about the first project. Are you here, Danny?
Yes, sorry. Good afternoon for everybody. So I will talk about two projects. The first one is the, everybody can hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. First is the irregular history lessons from Page, from the World Heritage Site of Page, and the second one is called the Page 8 project. So I start with the irregular history lesson from Page. This project is basically from 2000, runs from 2014, and it offers programs and activities for students, all the schools in the city of Page, and these are free activities, and it is available for every 5th and 9th grade classes from Page, so they can participate during school time. The 5th and 9th grade is because they learn the Roman period in schools, and the World Heritage Site of Page is a 4th and 5th century late Roman early Christian cemetery. It is in the middle of the historical downtown of Page. Above the late Roman cemetery, there is the first cathedral, the first Hungarian cathedral from 1009. It was established above the late Roman cemetery, which was, as I told you before, was used in the 4th and 5th century, and maybe the medieval first Christian church was one of these late Roman cemetery buildings. So it has a very long and interesting story, and when the students learn about the late Roman period and the Roman era in school, they could visit the World Heritage Site free, and they can choose about these irregular history lessons. So it's much more interactive for them than learning it just at the class of the school. There are different activities for the younger and the older generation. For the 5th grade, a very interesting program is an expedition. It is called the expedition looking after the time capsules, because they have to explore 1,800 square meter visitor center under the ground with the late Roman cemetery buildings. They have to find time capsules, and they have to fill in a puzzle at the end by discovering all the late Roman finds, and after it there is a short summary and an interactive history lesson about what they saw, and they tell us about what was interesting for them. So the other one is for the 9th grade. There are two different possibilities during these activities. One is a board game which is called Cella Activity. It starts with a site visit. They listen to all the stories of the late Roman cemetery, and after that they have to pick words from the site visits, and they have to play these in a board game, as you know, the famous game which is called Activity. So they have to show the words or draw down or talk about them, not saying the exact word, but telling the background and the meaning of the word. So this is a board game for the 9th grade, and the other one is another program which is called Jumping into Ancient Times. They have to explore all the World Heritage Sites first, and after that they have to play rules about the exact findings and explorations. So they have to make an interpretation, a presentation to each other in side of a role which they choose. So it's much more interactive to present each other the main thematics of the program. I think what is also important that these program topics are connected to the European cultural history, so the students can get to know about the Hungarian roots as well, but the European culture as well, and then they can place these local values to the heritage of the past on an international level. So we recommend these board games for the high school students, and the exploration game is for the younger 5th grade students. I think that was all about the first one. If you have any questions, then I'm pleased to answer them. And the other one is about the page 8 project. It's not just a single project. It is running for years, but there are many parts of it. I will specify one of the camps which were in about 2 years ago. It was a summer camp, and the page 8 project is about a period between 1945 and 1990. It was the communist regime's period in Hungary. So it includes interactive programs as educational materials also, but many interactive elements for students aged between 14 and 19. And the camp was about the 1970s and the life about the life in the 1970s in the city of Pécs, Hungary. And there were two aims. One was to share the students the ambivalent tendencies of the period with showing them the local identities. So it was focusing on students creating individual projects. Students were given characteristics objects of the period. They had to collect matching stories from people living here at that time. And the overall steps was to transition from personal general levels to an experience. So students' task was first to include resource analysis, and then the methods was also included drama pedagogy and creative writing. For example, poems, songs, short stories were created, and short films, which was very helpful and useful from them. And they also used contemporary media from the newspapers and news reels from the past. And the storytelling part was also very interesting because the media helped the students to learn stories about people living in Pécs, and the main focus was the stories of the people living in the past. So this period was the time when the students' parents was young, so they could ask also about stories from their parents and grandparents when they were young. So it also helped to access family histories of the period. And for the students, it provided the first-hand access to the period that they studied. So this was just one part of this big project, because the whole project concludes 45 years and many parts of the city and local buildings as well. But this was one specified part, the camp about the 1970s. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. And I will jump to the third project we collected as best practice. Unfortunately, the lady from the Petrofi Literature Museum cannot attend today. So I will try to summarize and talk about this really interesting project. Shortly about the Petrofi Literature Museum. It's a museum about Hungarian literature, and the aim is to collect and explore and preserve the heritage of Hungarian literature, and to present it and mediate it to support the cultural identity of our diverse world. So this program is part of the IKS, which is in Hungarian as called Community Service, which is an obligatory permanently organized program countrywide, and every high school student have to participate in this before they take their school living exam. So Petrofi Literature Museum started to participate in this program 3 years ago, but this actual program I will talk about it started about 1 year ago. So this program is for, as I mentioned, high school students, and it's all experimental and interactive. And despite the fact that it is obligatory in every school, each student can choose this museum. And the special thing in this program here is that they can choose the activity they would like to participate in. So the aim is to have a task which is designed for their personalities, and it can be anything inside of the museum. So the method is basically that the museum educator brings them around as a guided tour and shows the museum for them, and they can make and they can choose whatever they want to. So it can be a photo exhibition, a guided tour, or a quarantine diary. And the point of this program is to create something that is way more than just a service in a museum, but be a part of something that will be exhibited at the end. And also the point is to teach them something that school cannot teach them, and have an independent opinion about everything, and to be able to have a reason for every decision they make. So as I mentioned, that the method is to get to know the students better and to find out what can help them to grow, so they can freely explore the museum and find out what they want to do. Of course, the museum educator helps them with this, and they find out the task together. And the point is to step out of their comfort zone and create something that reflects their own personalities. And here you can see that it is really important that the museum uses these products in a way, for example, in social media. So they created a Facebook group for students and for teachers to help them learn about literature. And they also use social media to exhibit these products of the students they create. And also on the website of the museum I linked here, you can find the products of the students they created. So for example, you can find here films and all kinds of exhibitions. So I think it is really interesting, and it really helps students to grow in their cultural identity. So this was all I wanted to share with you, and thank you for your attention. Should I stop? I stop sharing and give the word back to Francesca, I guess.
Francesca, are you here? Okay, I think that we can continue with Poland if Alexandra Konrad is here and can.
Yes, hello.
Hello. Okay.
Thank you very much for organizing the conference. So we would like to present two presentations. One will be by Zbigniew Kwiatowski, PhD from the Institute of Archaeology of Polish Academy of Sciences. And he will present what we think an important aspect of how the administration in Poland influences the promotion of cultural heritage. And the second presentation will be done by Professor Roxana Chowaniec, and she will be presenting the activities and innovative educational methodology of Biskupin Museum with additional information about best practices on national level. Tak, przepraszam panie Zbigniewie, czy puści pan prezentację, czy ja mam puszczać prezentację?
Mogę puścić, myślę, że dam sobie z tym radę. Słychać mnie, mam nadzieję.
Tak.
Już ją włączam. Ladies and gentlemen, my presentation won't be so colorful like yours because I will be talking about law and administration system in Poland according to promotion of heritage. So, before I tell you about Polish administration system in context of promotion of heritage and of course archaeology, I need to tell you about two very important rules in Polish law system. First of all, you need to know that in Polish law, all administration units can do only thing that are written in law. So if an act about museum is written that museum can do conservation work, science and promotion, they can only do conservation, science and promotion, nothing more. This is very important because if administration units don't have in their law acts promotion of heritage, they can't do any promotion activities. Second very important rule is a principle that belongs not only to Polish law system, but is generally valid in law. This rule tells us that if in one paragraph we have two different words, they have to have different meaning. Why it's important? Because in Polish law system we have two very similar words, dissemination and promotion. In Polish, upowszechnianie I promocja. These two words are written in many acts together. As you can see in presentation, these words have different meaning. Dissemination is basically about spreading information. Dissemination is basically about spreading information, in our case about archaeology and heritage. So if particular units have written in the Law Act only obligation of dissemination, all they need to do to publish information about what they do. For example, if particular unit does some scientific research, they only have obligation of dissemination information about it. All they need to do is publish simple information about it on internet, and the obligation will be accomplished. On the other hand, promotion have wider meaning. Promotion is about activity that supports or encourage public awareness. This awareness can relate knowledge about particular archaeological sites or research problems, but also heritage protection, conservation, or management. So if our exemplary unit have written in their Law Act obligation of promotion, they need to take particular action aimed to achieving specific goals. These goals should influence society to change their view on archaeology and heritage as our exemplary units expects. For example, to improve the protection of an archaeological site or to influence the local administration to collaborate with specialists in its heritage-related activities. In short, promotion aims to change social attitudes. Dissemination is only the provision the information to the public. And now I want to show you Polish administration units that take activities in dissemination and promotion of archaeology. On first place, we have a government administration. They cover the entire country, and they are organized by sectors as culture, science, medicine, sport, etc. On the second place, we have a local administration. They cover particular areas of cities or country regions. They are also organized by sectors. Then we have national and regional conservation office that are under the Ministry of Culture, National Heritage and Sports. Next, we have a National Heritage Board of Poland. We also have museums. They work under the Ministry of Culture or under the local administration. We have local museums that show all local heritage, but also specialized museums like archaeological, historical, or ethnographical museums. Of course, we also have universities that work under the Ministry of Education and Science. Archaeology in Polish universities is organized in division, institutes, and faculties. Another science organization that take archaeological research in Polish Academy of Sciences, where operates Institute of Archaeology and Ethnology, where I have pleasure to work. All institutions I just mentioned work in Polish administration system and have their funds from the national budget. And now I will show you the written in Polish Law Act activities that can be implemented by particular units of administration. Archaeology work on the border between science and culture. Archaeologists do scientific research, but the subject of their studies is an element of culture. This duality is also present in administration system. We have Ministry of Education and Science that supervise archaeological research, but also Ministry of Culture, National Heritage and Sport that supervise archaeological sites. Ministries in Poland have the role of organizers and patron for scientific and cultural activities carried out by their subordinate units. What is very important, ministers in general don't force subordinate units to perform particular actions. Their main role is to determine the scientific and cultural policy and to finance activities undertaken by their subordinate units. Units choose the actions they take by themselves. This gives them the opportunity to adjust them to their capabilities and local needs. Of course, ministries can apply specific programs, for example, linked to national anniversary, but still, units can choose activities they want to implement in these programs. Local administrations have the same responsibilities as government administration, but only in their region. So they are organizers and patrons to cultural activities carried out mostly by local museums and NGOs. The second part of their responsibilities is to create local plans for the protection and use of cultural heritage, including archaeology. General Conservation Officer have a range of Vice Minister in Ministry of Culture, National Heritage and Sport. His main task is to protect the cultural heritage on administrative level. He is also responsible for all administrative decisions relating to cultural heritage. Regional conservation officers have the same task as general conservation officer, but only in their province. But in fact, they are in the front line of the protection of the cultural heritage in Poland. They are the ones who issue administrative decisions regarding heritage in their regions, and that have the greatest impact on its protection. National Heritage Board of Poland is an institution that works under the Ministry of Culture. It is a specialist unit aimed at conducting research, conservation, and promotion work at the national level. Their activities are mostly aimed mainly at professionals in the field of heritage, such as conservation, conservators, archaeologists, and officials. On the beginning of 2021 year, we had in Poland 143 museums. Of course, not every museum is about archaeology, but all museums have the same task. The most important of them is collecting, protecting, and conservation of material cultural heritage. Second are scientific research on their collection. And third are promotion of cultural heritage that should be based on the collected collection. As you can see, museums are the first units on our list that have promotion written in their law acts. Universities and Polish Academy of Sciences are both scientific institutions, but they have different goals. All 12 universities where we can study archaeology in Poland are responsible for scientific research and higher education. Both research and education are equal and complement each other. Institute of Archaeology and Technology, Polish Academy of Sciences have only one main goal, scientific research. We educate future students, but only on PhD level. And here you can see the table that presents all tasks of all administration units. As you notice, promotion tasks are assigned only to Museum and National Heritage Board of Poland. All other administration units have only dissemination in their legal act. Fortunately, the law is not a strong suit for scientists, so universities and Polish Academy of Sciences also are involved in the promotion process, although they are not obligated to do so. But the main units implementing the promotion of heritage in Poland are NGOs. But this is the story for other time. Thank you for your attention. This was very short presentation about Polish legal and administration system that show you that in Polish legal system, only museums have obligation to do promotion act. Only every other institution have only obligation to do dissemination. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. In case you have any questions, I'm sorry, in case you have any questions, like I believe they're after the question. Mm-hmm.
Ja nie widzę na ekranie się.
I'm sorry, can you see the screen, the presentation?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Hi, good morning. I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear you.
Roxana, we can hear you.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. As you see, as you heard, the very complicated with the legal and administration in Poland force also the activity of different museums, as well as a project financed by the public institutions and also the scientific institutions. Therefore, I'm going to focus on the best, let's say, example which show and feed very well to our project, means Archaeological Museum in Biskupin and the activity of this museum. The Archaeological Museum in Poland, the Archaeological Museum in Biskupin is a very enormous museum, open air parks, which has a lot of different activities and a lot of different methods used during the education and also promotion of archaeological heritage, because it's most of the tasks are related to archaeology, but also to ethnography. So we are going to speak about the culture heritage. I pointed three different things which, according to me and people from the Archaeological Museum in Biskupin, are crucial for the good education and the best way of promotion of culture heritage. The first of one is didactic methods and tools used, then discuss topics, and of course, organization of all these activities. Okay. First of all, we are going to focus on the methods and tools used during the projects. Archaeological Museum based all activities on interactivity, engagement, training, storytelling, experiential learning, experiential past, and of course they use different tools like educational tools, among others worksheets and books, multimedia, virtual museums and YouTube channels, as well as a touch on exhibition and also the competition, and so all combination between knowledge and recreation means they have a lot of different, they have a lot of space to combine learning activities with recreation. Next one. So here you, if you can see, you have a couple of pictures showing combination of these different methods and different tools. As example, interactive presentation and workshops with public participation and multisensory involvement. What is a great and well done job of the Archaeological Museum in Biskupin, they use very sometimes very fragile and very difficult topics related to the culture melting, to different interculture connections, and also to the changes, breaking the borders between different, not also the ancient tribes, but also the modern societies. So, okay. As I said, experiencing the past is the way and also the method used frequently in different activities. I also appreciate very much that a couple of years ago, the museum opened volunteering in the museum but not only for the students of archaeology or for the amateurs of archaeology, but also for children. And this volunteering at the museum is not only being at the museum one day, but also you can spend kind of a holidays type 1 week and learn different activities and also experiencing the past. Next one, please. Touch on exhibition is something what is very appreciated in the museum by public and wide public, and also the topics of this exhibition showing different connection between some areas in Europe. For example, here you can see the exhibition which is talking about the connection between ancient Rome and the barbarian tribes in the antiquity and so-called Roman period, where the trade culture connection were shown during this exhibition. As a support for all activities, educational worksheets also for disabled kids, because Archaeological Museum in Biskupin is strongly involved in education of disabled people. So doing so-called inclusive heritage and showing different sides, different faces of the past. Next one. For the new generation, of course, the virtual animation of for some archaeological sites, and because in Biskupin we deal with a few archaeological sites, not only one, showing a new way, modern way, not only on the laptops, but also on the iPhones, or let's say smartphones, past. As I said, the second part is the topics, discuss topics. So here you have a latest example, recent examples of topics which have been presented in the projects in Biskupin. As you can see, they are really multicultural, and what is very important for me and also for the public, that they are based on archaeology, but also they cross these ancient borders and show the modern relations and the modern societies, and of course the modern culture. We can also propose, or it was proposed by the Archaeological Museum, also to break the borders, for example, by the music. And one of the projects which have been done recently in the museum is how people learn and sing, to sing and play in the past. In the past means not only in antiquity, but in the past generally, and how music could connect in the past people from different areas, from different tribes. The one thing is not only talking about this culture connection, but also showing culture connection, because in each of these projects, we can see a huge internationalization, because we try to invite people who still are doing the recreation of own culture, and they are reconstructing ancient technologies, ancient food. So it's not only based on the Polish archaeologists and Polish museologists, but also, let's say, a native people who present this what I said, but also they present the modern culture. So we have various phases of heritage presented by the Archaeological Museum in Biskupin, and different very important and sometimes very fragile, as I said, and difficult topics like gender studies, migrations, but also very popular right now, nature and ecology, so preservation of the natural resources. As I said, inclusion of excluded, so engagement of the disabled people, and also the cultivation of traditions, not only traditions in Poland right now, but also the ancient traditions, because Poland is very, as you say, as you probably know, is built by the different people. We have a lot of borders with different countries, so it's important to show to the public also this not only culture differences, but also culture similarities. I worked with the Archaeological Museum in Biskupin almost 25 years, and one thing what I really appreciate and also public appreciate is a great atmosphere. So when you have a good methods and good tools and also the discussed topics, even they are difficult, by this atmosphere you can really show people a lot of things, and they are going to remember this because they are engaged in the process of learning. Yeah, so the museum offers also the daily newspaper when you can learn and read about different topics related to the projects which are implemented. Next one, please. And as I said, recently, it's very popular project which is called Back to the Nature and Ecology, to show a young generation how to preserve natural resources, how to care about the nature, and also how to care about food, for example. And as you know, we throw out a lot of food, so it's a case when the young generation learn this and also learn about the different traditions which were in the Poland in the past and also in the neighborhood. This is the webpage of the Museum of Biskupin. And just on the end, I want to show you another example because it's completely different museum located close to the Warsaw. So in a very small town. So as you can imagine, in Warsaw, we have a lot of museums, and existing of such a museum close to the Warsaw could be really risky, but this museum has a very success in the attendance and also in the activity. They offer activity for different levels of education, but also for the teachers. They strongly cooperate with the local teachers. And the museum is dedicated to the ancient metallurgy, or let's say to the metallurgy, which is a very difficult topic, especially that it's not very spectacular. And why I choose this museum, because they are talking about the metallurgy, not only from the perspective of the craft, but mostly from the perspective of the interconnections between different cultures, and also trade connections, because it was the place where a lot of different people from different cultures arrived to buy the iron. So they also offer not only regular museum lectures, but also talks, discussion, workshops, experiments, reenactment, and what is really nice, theater and music concerts. And everything is focused on the metallurgy, but metallurgy as a middle of the topic, and the rest is related to the, as I said, to the culture connections. As a small museum, also what is necessary to stress, they offer in education and different languages. So you have the Polish, English, and German, and all information or education workshops, discussion, and everything is provided in these 3 languages, what is not very common, not only in Poland, but also in many countries. And it also is done by the museum curators to invite another nations and another people, and also to meet, to give a possibility to meet each other and discuss not only about the heritage and past, but also about the present relations in the present world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation. In case you have any questions, anyone?
Okay. You can now stop sharing the screen, Alexandra. I would like to ask all of you, since we are very close to 3, and I would like also to hear what Francesca also thinks about this possibility. What do you think to skip this predicted break and just finish the whole event very soon? Do you need a break, or you think it would be better to stay in time and without a break just go to the session, next session with presentation of European projects? Do we all agree? Just shake your head. Okay, thank you. So then I would invite Ljubomir Jeftovic and Francesca Pandolfi to present us best practices from the European Union.
Well, hello everybody. Dear friends and colleagues, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ljubomir Jeftovic. I am from the Institute of Archaeology in Belgrade. And together with my Italian amica Francesca Pandolfini from Parco Archeologico del Colosseo, I have the honor to show you some of the best examples of EU-funded projects dealing with heritage. Now, as we are almost at the end of this wonderful event, we will keep this very brief. And I only have to say that I believe we truly saved the best for the end. Now, the first project I will show you is the project Heritage Hubs. Just a second. Now, we are very proud of these projects because they are the winners of the European Heritage Awards. Of course, this is an international project, not only Serbian, it involves Finland and Spain also. Now, I won't say much about it. I will let this wonderful video do all the talking. But luckily, we have here with us Alexandra Nikolic, one of the coordinators of the project. So you can ask her anything you like to know after, during the discussion. And here is the video.
Culture is very important. That's important for young people, old people, and it's nice to share. Is it music, dancing, playing together? That brings people together.
Heritage Hubs was a transnational project where children and young people from Finland, Serbia, and Spain learned about and from cultural heritage. It was also about them choosing what cultural heritage they regard as important.
It was important that we could choose it ourselves.
A lo largo de todo el curso, vimos trabajar a nuestros alumnos con enorme interés e ilusión en el patrimonio que ellos habían elegido.
They shared and interpreted cultural heritage to gain a wider understanding of cultural diversity.
U projektu najbolje bila baš ta razmena kulturnog nasljeđa, da se sagleda šta nam je u stvari zajedničko.
När Serbieleverna presenterade stafettkarnevalen så det kändes jätteroligt för att när någon annan presenterar vår kultur och gör det kändes jättebra.
Participating in a project that has helped us to get to know our culture and our heritage more has been very enriching for us. And I think it's a way that we can all connect as a whole country, as a whole continent.
Los niños sacaron el proyecto de la escuela y durante unos días sus familias, sus vecinos, sus amigos, los grupos de danza se convirtieron en sus profesores y de forma espontánea toda la comunidad local se involucró en el proyecto porque sentían que era algo que hablaba de ellos y de su identidad.
So in a way, cultural heritage became a new link between the pupils, teachers, parents, and the wider community.
Key findings of the research that we based on the Heritage Hub's experiences are that heritage education is a social learning process in essence. This means that learning from heritage is particularly effective and is active when it happens in direct social encounters and in immediate cultural environment.
It's easier to learn by going to places and everything than writing on paper.
It's amazing how they learn from each other.
Learn about themselves, learn about their own country when they're learning about the others.
One of the overwhelming outcomes is how the notion of heritage changed and expanded in children's minds.
Sve što vama znači, to može da bude neko kulturno naslijeđe.
A ne.
Truly an amazing project. Now, unfortunately, as we are running out of time, I will skip to the next project. The next project we will be talking about is, I will show you basically the video about the project VR Stobi and the application Stobi Edu. Those are brainchilds of a company called Blink 4221 from North Macedonia. That is one of the leading companies here in the Balkans, bringing heritage into the 21st century. Now, the experience of these applications provides to the users something that is literally out of this world. Luckily, we have here with us Zorica Velkovska, who is one of the members of these projects, and you can ask her questions. Zorica, will you share?
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for the invitation.
Do you want me to share the presentation or?
No, I can.
Okay, excellent.
Can you see it?
Yes, it's great.
Okay, I will try to be very short, just to show you some images and present you what we did. Just to correct, we are not company, we are not profit. Center for Social Innovations, Blink 4221 it's an NGO, but we really want to intend to involve more creative industry, startups, and freelancers and people from companies to get involved in this social impact that we want to do. So we developed in 2019 with the National Institute Stobi here in Macedonia that is managing the biggest archaeological site Stobi in Macedonia. The project Discovering the Roman City of Stobi Virtual Reality Experience that was funded by the XXX program of the Regional Cooperation Council, and it was funded by the European Union. The project I had only one goal, that was how to enhance the cultural experience at the archaeological site Stobi. That means how to provide additional content and how to give the visitors possibility to travel in the past, in the distant 2nd century, where they can see what was happening and how the city looked in that time through 9 minutes, 8.5 minutes animated virtual reality experience. This project was developed almost in one year, which was very challenging. We had so many engaged professionals from different backgrounds, from faculty and academia to architects to archaeologists, historians, and a lot of people from the creative industries. and even from the drama and film, because we produced a lot of promotional material that I will show you later. This virtual reality experience is now available at the archaeological site Stobi. You can visit and you can have the experience from the first rows in the theater. So it's something that was really refreshing for us. It was the first experience that we developed with this kind of technologies, and we did a good job, but we also learned a lot from the whole process during the development. The biggest thing was that we launched this application during the COVID time. Actually, the whole 2020 Stobi was closed till July, so everything started from August to October. So we had intensive campaign all over the country, which bring a huge visibility of the archaeological park Stobi, not just on social media, but also in the media. So we created three types of promotion. We create a good teaser campaign by providing interesting facts about the theater, about Stobi and stuff like that, that we might thought that will integrate will motivate the public to visit Stobi. All were digital materials, but also audio visuals. Without giving a sign what will be the experience. Then we start to introduce the gladiators, because the whole experience is the whole life in Stobi is actually presented through a gladiator battle that is happening in the theater, with a whole ceremony, with master of ceremony, with a lot of people around you. So we start to promote and giving facts interesting about the gladiators. And then we make a very short announcement about Open Weekend, because it was COVID time. We were very afraid how this will be managed. The good thing was that was open. You don't need to be in a closed premises. So we have this Open Weekend on Stobi, like a teaser, just to see how the people will react after 1 month campaigning, teaser campaigning. So we have only 2 days presentation on social media, and actually both dates were completely booked in 24 hours. Like people were asking on social media, on calling, on making the online reservations just to go. So in 1 weekend, the 2 days from the morning till the night, there were 62 visitors on a 30 minutes time, with all protocols to visit the experience. It was very funny, because people that arrived were completely visitors that the archaeological park is not expecting them in general. So there were families, all friends and families coming with 2 cars, 3 cars, arriving in Stobi, and so exciting to see small children, the older people. So everyone reacted differently, because this experience gives you a complete interactivity in the virtual world, because you can touch, you can move your hands, you can scream, yell, whatever the other spectators in the theater virtually are doing. It was interesting, because in those 2 months during the campaign and while Stobi was open, even in COVID time, there were more than 1,000 visitors, and most of them were under 45, which is completely new, young audience. And that was one of our biggest intentions with this project, is to develop a new audience, people that in generally are not interested on a first for archaeology and for history and for cultural heritage, but are interested for technology, and they will visit the archaeological site just to see how the technology can provide a new way of promotion and dissemination and education information about the cultural heritage. There was a great feedback from the media, which was previously not used. We were not used to, because the topics of culture and cultural heritage especially are not so published or not so often in the media. So we had like 20 days coverage in all biggest digital portals, with great titles, with a lot of people sharing the titles, writing what's about this, people calling, can they go and make a video, etc., etc. We have TV presentations, interviews, and it was interesting how people were sharing on social media. It was like they were completely surprised that this is in their country. Like you can see a virtual reality experience, especially on archaeological side, in your country. So most of the comments of the people were like, "Oh my God, we have this. Go in Stobi, check this." So those were nice 3 months where people were interested in cultural heritage in the country, and a lot of people sharing on social media about gladiators. We did a lot of outdoor promotion, so we put billboards in the city center, on the highways. It was pity that there was Corona and people were not traveling to Greece, so they couldn't just stop because they saw the billboard, but the campaign was very active. At the end, when we saw the reactions from this virtual reality experience, we realized that it's very important to develop something when we are on this way already produced with the story, with the 3D animations and everything, something to see, to have a sneak peek of all this material without going to Stobi. So to provide an educational and informational opportunity, especially for the younger audience, like students from primary and high schools. So with the support of the Ministry of Culture, besides the European Union funded project, we successfully in 3 months developed a separate application, which is mobile application for Google and for Android and iOS users. So you can put your cell phone in these cardboard boxes and that are very cheap. And you can have the whole theater with the normally smaller capacity than the one in Stobi, but in your classroom. So now this application is available. It has a complete educational informational value because presents the life of Stobi through this gladiator battle scene. We have a group of students in the beginning of October that were in the yards in the school, because this was also bad because during the COVID here schools were closed. So there was no teaching, but the teachers organized like activities in the yards in the schools where they put their cell phones in these boxes, and they have the theater in the yards in different high school and primary school, so they can see and touch and do all the things that you can do in Stobi. But now this is the challenge. This is what we want to upgrade now, and we want to work on providing, because this is more accessible. You don't need the expensive VR sets that are on Stobi, but you can do it with your cell phone. So this is what we are targeting in the next 2 years. We want this application to be more exposed to the primary and high schools, even for the kindergartens, because the content is very visual. It's not hard for understanding.
Well, thank you, Zorica. I saw it, and it is amazing. When you put the headset on, it's like you're transported to another dimension, like 2,000 years ago. It's amazing. Now, we will have time for questions later. Now, we also have here with us my dear colleague, Milica Marjanovic from the Institute of Archaeology from Belgrade, presenting a project called Living Danube Limes, Interact Danube Transitional Program, and let's hear what she has to say. Milica?
Can I share the screen?
Yes, please.
Just a second. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for the invite and for this introduction. Actually, Living Danube Limes project is a transnational Interact project. It will last for 2.5 years. It is planned for it to end in the end of the next year. It is European Union funded project with a budget of 3.2 million euros. And one of the prerequisites for the project is eco-friendly approach, but also insisting on sustainable tourism, at least in Danube area. Living Danube Limes gathered researchers from 10 European countries, mostly the Danubian area. There are 19 main project partners. They are institutions such as universities, scientific institutions or touristic organizations, and 27 associated strategic partners. There are several goals of this project. The most important one is highlighting the common Roman heritage of Danube countries and insisting on the importance and impact of the Roman Danube limes and that importance of it for the future. This project also supports UNESCO World Heritage nomination of the Danube limes as one cluster, with special support of its eastern part that is currently on a tentative UNESCO list. We also want to make some sort of common brand and to pave a ground for a cultural route that will extend across the whole Danube region. We also want to develop strategies for the use of cultural heritage in a way that local communities can benefit from it and that they can somehow participate. One of the main outputs or results of the project is establishing 8 national pilot sites, which are archaeological sites that are chosen for further archaeological sites on the line of Danube limes that are chosen for further promotion and development. We also plan to do geophysical prospection on the selected sites, to use that data for virtual and augmented reality reconstructions of some Roman features on the site, and to use all of that data for the Living Danube Limes app, that is application that we will design and that is imagined as some sort of archaeological or historical guide through the Danube region. We also want to make a transnational museum cluster that should enhance the interinstitutional cooperation in the area. And one of the most interesting and important results of the project will be the reconstruction of the functional late Roman type of ship. We call this a novena latris. This is a very interesting example of experimental archaeology. And as you can see, only Roman tool replicas will be used. So there is no help of modern appliances, and the process is 100% authentic. After the reconstruction, the boat will go down the Danube. This cruise is planned for the next summer, and this so-called connecting cruise will also include the International Living History crew with the reconstruction of Roman outfits. And after the end of that project, the ship will be stationed on each pilot site for 1 year period. And there it will be used as a touristical attraction for educational purposes, but also and hopefully as a motivation for local authorities to invest a bit more in Roman heritage in general, but specifically on that pilot site. So that would be all. Thank you for your attention, and please follow us if you want on social media. Thank you.
Thank you, Milica. So you're basically organizing a cruise with that ship, and I hope that you will provide us all with the tickets for that ancient cruise.
We'll talk about the price.
Thank you so much. The next project we believe deserves attention was also the project of NGO Blink 4221. Out of North Macedonia. The project's name is Immersive Storytelling Driven Cooperation for Cultural Heritage Dissemination in the Western Balkans. Now, instead of regular presentation, I will show you a video about the project.
Welcome to the gladiator battles by the bravest performers. Let's get ready to rumble!
The project will provide a new cooperation model for using digital technologies to enhance cultural experience at 3 archaeological sites: Stobi in North Macedonia, Dominacium in Serbia, and Emona in Slovenia. This model will lead to untold and uncovered historical and cultural stories with fresh content easy to share, and even easier to spread with wider audience. This project will extend the cooperation between the creative, culture, civic, and academia sector. It will provide a base for development of the capacities of the cultural institutions to explore the opportunities for immersive storytelling in creating narratives and experiences that will attract new audiences and disseminate the values of culture heritage. The project will offer new opportunities for perceiving cultural heritage through designing novel touristic attractions and user-centric experiences attractive to new audiences.
Now, the project is basically in its first year and so still in its infancy, but as you can see, the results are going to be truly amazing. Now, the next project I would like to show you is named Hercules, Heritage and Culture. And unfortunately, the lady Žaneta Hrbkova from Gymnasium Antona Bernolaka from Slovakia could not attend. She told me this virtually 5 minutes ago. So I will just share her presentation and just show you very quickly what they are doing. What they did actually. So I will just show you to get the idea. So that was the short presentation of the project Hercules, well, one truly worthy of its name. Now to skip to the last project I will show you is the project called Mitra, Mobility and Intercultural Dialogue, for the transmission of heritage from Roman antiquity. The presentation was prepared by Madam Kathleen Lowe of the Musée Royal de Mariemont from Belgium. And I wish to thank them for preparing this presentation for us. Now I will share my screen again. Now the presentation also comes with the sound. So if you
Mobility and Intercultural Dialogue for the Transmission of Heritage from Roman Antiquity is a 3-year Creative Europe project running until August 2023. The lead institution and initiator of the project is the Royal Museum of Mariemont in Belgium. This museum is the guardian of a unique 45-hectare estate and collection of arts and antiquities bequeathed to the state of Belgium almost a century ago by Belgian industrialist Raoul Warocquet, The museum actively participates in European cooperation projects in order to enhance its mission of conservation, research, and dissemination. This cooperation project creates the first exhibition dedicated to Mithras. The objective is to increase public understanding of this significant piece of European heritage from Roman antiquity and connect European cultural operators, scholars, and technical partners around the topic. Each partner institution brings complementary expertise. The Marymont Museum develops a new and innovative exhibition scenography model. Toulouse's Saint-Rémy Museum shares its scientific links on the subject developed with the Iberian Peninsula, and the Archeological Museum of Frankfurt presents research on numerous outstanding Mithraic cult monuments, such as altars, dedications, and cult devices. Who is Mithras? Depicted as a bull slayer, Mithras was a god of Persian origins whose cult was immensely popular in the Roman Empire in the period of the 1st to 3rd centuries AD. The cult of this particular deity and its specific rituals were shared by a brotherhood of worshippers who lived in the territory of almost all current European states. Each year, excavations reveal new sanctuaries, objects, and inscriptions, testifying even more to the great popularities of Mithras across ancient Europe, with more than 150 sanctuaries attested by archaeological evidence, from Scotland to North Africa, from Syria to Spain. Transmission of this cultural diversity is at the core of the project. The Mithra project aims at connecting today's European citizens with Mithraic worshippers from Roman antiquity. The exhibition will promote the transnational mobility of Mithraic artworks from more than 40 European museums in Belgium, France, Germany, Netherlands, Austria, Croatia, Slovenia, Hungary, Bulgaria, and Romania. Will also promote innovation in the presentation of archaeological collections with the use of new technologies to create immersive experiences such as video mapping, immersive scenography, animation, historical reconstructions of Mithraic ceremonies, and other digital supports. The exhibition will be presented in 3 locations, each venue declining the topic in its relevant context and with local artifacts. The story of the Roman god Mithras highlights a common European past. By connecting cultural operators, scholars, archaeologists, and technical partners, the project will investigate major unexplored themes with striking modern resonances in today's European countries, such as religious behaviors, articulation of global and local identities, and migration. We look forward to knowing about your project and finding out whether synergies can be found with ours. You're also welcome to our exhibition opening November 20 of this year. Do not hesitate to contact us. And
that was the last EU-funded project we wanted to share with you. Now, Francesca and I thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions for us or for the coordinators of the projects we showed you.
Yes, thank you, Lubomir. We were not so late in the end, so yes, we are late, but not too much. So if there's some questions, I think we can answer if somebody's still here. Yes.
We truly picked the best of the best. Francesca and I literally went through the entire list of EU-funded projects. There were like more than 6,000 of them, and we handpicked the best ones.
Really, 6,000?
More than around
really?
6,500.
Francesca, can you imagine this time sheet of the time when he spent?
I had no idea it was such a big number. Yeah. So thank you for your work.
Yes, and I would like to thank for this all of these amazing presentations, and to all participants. Everything is valuable in its way, and I think that this kind of events are really good places for finding new solutions, new collaborations, and personally, I found a couple of persons which are completely similar to the things that we are doing. So I know that all of us are, you know, searching for partners in different projects. So it's really valuable to have in one place people who are dealing with similar topics, similar aims, similar goals. So I'm really glad to have you all here today. Thank you once again.
Thank you, and thanks again also to Francesca Pandolfi for having helped me with the moderation. Thank you, Francesca, and thank you to all the participants.
I only have one, how do I say, if you could all turn on your cameras so I can take a snapshot of the
Moment. Horrible.
How
to fix the situation, okay. Don't worry.
Ladies, make sure you're
I think I have to.
That's it.
This is a little bit better, a little bit.
Oh, it's great. Thank you all. That's it.
Okay. Then bye-bye to everybody. Bye, Ljubomir. Bye, Roxana. Bye, Francesca.
Bye. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
once again.
Bye.
Have a nice weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.